Welcome to Evolve, where we are embracing progression and expansion. Now, here's your host, Henry Harris. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Evolve. I am so glad that you're here today. I believe that we have a great program in store um, for you tonight. And I want to just ask this question. How are you doing? How your mama and them doing? Anybody know Bishop Carton Pearson, the late Bishop Carton Pearson? He used to always say that all the time. How your mama and them doing? Oh, I'm feeling good tonight. I hope you're doing good. Um, I want to come and talk to you about intuition dysfunction. That seems to be something that's prevalent. It seems to be something that a lot of people deal with, a lot of people struggle with today. And I personally believe that our intuition is that inner voice. If you were to ask me for the definition of that, I think that's our inner voice. Some people like to refer to their intuition as a gut feeling, like they have this deep feeling about something. Um, and while I believe that all those things are true, um, there are those who have, I would say, almost manipulated their emotions to the point where they don't evaluate those gut feelings that they feel about someone or that inner voice, or they had a feeling or they thought something. But how many times have our intuition been off a little bit? I mean, I can admit that there's been times where I thought that um, that my intuition was right about something, and I come to find out that it wasn't. Um, this can be problematic because when you start to feel a certain way about something, and you don't take the time to evaluate that critically, logically, that could be a problem for the people that we are connected to. That could be a problem for our friendships. It could be a problem overall. And I think when you start to put yourself in a position where you start to discern things in the absence of reasoning, logic, as I just aforementioned, um, it can lead you to intuition dysfunction. Like there's nothing wrong with your intuition, but if you accept everything as an absolute, if you accept how you feel as concrete, and you believe, well, this is the way I feel, so it must be true, you're manipulating yourself. You really are, and you are manipulating not only your emotions manipulating you, but also your intuition's a little bit off. It doesn't mean that there aren't times where that you feel like something's going on, whether that's something relational or maybe you feel like a friend betrayed you. But the reality of it is that while you may be right about some things, you don't really have absolute proof, and that's what basically what the show is about today. While I think our intuition is a beautiful thing, is that inner voice, is that gut feeling, is what's inside of you, is that I call it the knowing, is that knowing that's inside of you. But we gotta get to this place where we ask ourselves, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? And the only way you'll ever know that you're right is that you're wrong. What if you were in a relationship with someone and I had a gut feeling something was going on, and come to find out you were wrong? Do you think you owe that person an apology? Well, I felt this way about something. And guess what? There may have been time where you felt a certain way about someone. And guess what? It ended up being right. I knew I was right about that. our intuition is something that God has put, I think, deep down on the inside of us. It's who we are as human beings. We're supposed to have that intuition. We're supposed to have that gut feeling, that inner knowing, that inner voice that we hear deep down on the inside. But I think if we're going to have that, and we all do, whether you want to deny it or not, we need to use it in a logical way, in a critical way, where we're not um, using our initiative to manipulate someone. So I ran across a video um, on Facebook, and I think this is in terms of relationships. I know a lot of you women are going to watch and be like, well, I can't believe he posted that. Or, well, I didn't post it. Actually, the lady that's doing the video, I don't know who she is. She's the one that posted. So, and as I was listening to her, she was talking about different stuff in regards to intuition. That's where I got my subject from, intuition dysfunction. How many women have an intuition dysfunction? How many men have a intuition dysfunction where we think something is wrong or something is off, but we don't use that same intuition to discern what's right about someone? And I think she was talking in the context of women who always say, you, and you'll get to hear it here in a second. I'm about to play it. They'll say, "Oh, I knew he was cheating. I knew he was doing so. I knew," but you never. It's always when he's doing something wrong. But you never discern when he's doing something right, and you wonder why he don't hang around, or you wonder why she don't hang around. So it can kind of go both ways. But since I am a man, and I have dated women who I would consider had a intuition dysfunction, I can totally relate to what this lady is saying. So we're gonna bring her on the stream.
Shoot the messenger, but a lot of women only use their woman's intuition to tell them whenever their man is doing something wrong. If that man is lying, cheating, sliding in somebody's DM, entertaining somebody, that intuition kick in hella strong. All of a sudden, I had a feeling about something whenever he's doing something wrong. But why does it not work whenever that man's needs are not being met? Why does that intuition not kick in whenever he's not happy? Whenever he's afraid to have a real conversation with you because you are police tone, and every time y'all have any kind of conversation that doesn't go your way? Where's the intuition whenever he needs a little bit extra attention, extra time, because he's having a rough time, because he's having some personal situations going on, and he may just need you to be there for him? Where's the intuition then? Why does it only work if he's doing something absolutely wrong? I ain't gonna hold you. Intuition can be like a superpower, but can we use it for good too?
So you pretty much heard what she said, and I have to say that I agree with her because um, there are times where our intuition can be a little bit off. And I think what I learned the most about what she said, we'll get deeper to this here in a second, is that our intuition only seems to work when someone we're connected to is doing something wrong. We never we never talk about it in the context of what they're doing right. Like your and I get what she's saying, your intuition, um, let's say you can never discern when he needs someone to talk to. Because a lot of times men keep their emotions to themselves. You can never discern when he needs someone to give him a hug, when he needs acceptance, when he needs validation, when he needs love, when he needs affirmation. We can never discern that. But we can always discern, all right, ooh, my intuition just kicked in. Why can't you use that same intuition when he's doing something right or when she's doing something right? Like I said, I think it kind of works both ways. It does work both ways. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to do that because it seems like a lot of us are wired to always search for what's wrong with someone else. We do. We're wired to do that. We love to, um, like I was telling one of my friends the other day, a gotcha moment. Oh, I got you. Or to make someone feel less than, or we try to belittle someone. And the reality of it is that we all got skeletons in the closet. We all got struggles. We all have things that we're dealing with. And like I said, some everybody has an intuition, but that doesn't mean that your intuition is always right. That doesn't mean that you're going to always say the right things. That doesn't mean that what you are discerning is accurate. And it takes a strong, intelligent, mature individual to sit back and reevaluate themselves and say, you know what? Yes, I did say that, but let me go back and rethink that. Let me go back and look at that again because I could have been wrong about how I felt. I'll say this. Um, I was in a relationship several years ago with this young lady, and I always found myself feeling that her intuition was a bit off. When someone tells you something or they say, well, I feel like you're doing this, I feel like you're doing that, sometimes it's something that they're doing. Well, that's cheating or lying, being manipulative. So I always keep that in mind. When someone always say, I feel like you're doing this, my intuition is telling me this, maybe it's saying that about you. And you're trying to project your intuition onto me. Because let me tell you something. If I've done something wrong, or if your intuition is telling you that, I am man enough to say, you know what, you're right. You got it this time. But at the same time, I'm no longer in relationships with people who all they can do is sit back and discern what's wrong with me. I want to connect with people where they see what's right with me. We need to be leery of people that's that way. There's always, oh, I'm sensing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. It's like, no, sometimes that ain't always the case. That's not always the case that something is wrong or something is off. I mean, it's time to start searching for what's right. So, back to what I was saying. I always felt inadequate in the relationship that I was in years ago, and this individual, no matter what she felt, now listen to this, no matter what she felt or how she felt it in relations to her intuition, she felt she was always right. And because she felt it, she accepted how she felt about me at face value. And you're wondering why that relationship didn't work. Of course, it's not going to work. I'm not going to stay with someone that's just going to start going off their intuition and, oh, you're doing this, you're doing, especially when you as a person know you're not doing those things. That's where it becomes a problem too, because no matter what you say to that individual that's judging you incorrectly based off of their intuition, there is nothing you can say to them at the end of the day that's going to convince them otherwise, because that's what they believe. This is what I believe. This is what I know that's happening. It's absolute. It's correct. It's concrete. It's established. And there's nothing you can tell them that's going to change their mind. If they think you are a cheater when you know you're not a cheater, there's nothing you can say to them. Their intuition is flawed. It's flawed. And you'll never have a healthy relationship. You'll never have a healthy friendship. You'll never have healthy connections with people in your life when your intuition is flawed. So when we think about our intuition, our inner knowing, we want to believe that it's always concrete, established, settled. And I have learned over the years that this is not true. It's not always true. I can say for myself, Henry Harris, that what I've thought about people in the past ended up being wrong. What I had settled down, like it's concrete, it's established, it's settled, how I feel about someone. There's times where I thought, okay, I got this down. I'm right about this. I had to go back and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Um, Women seem, in some instances, have a problem with that, accepting accountability. And men do too, alike. Accepting accountability. It's okay to admit, you know what, what I said about you, what I thought about you was wrong. I was going based off of my intuition. I would applaud you. I would celebrate a person that would just man up or woman up and say, I missed it that time. And I can honestly say that there's been times in my life where I've missed it. Have you? I missed it. We all have, whether you want to own it or not. We've all missed it. But like I said, until you own it, until you say my intuition is flawed, until you say within yourself, you know what, I think, or at least I believe that I can do better, you're gonna always have failed relationships. I hate to tell you that. You're gonna always have failed friendships. Nobody's gonna want to be connected to you because all you see is what's wrong with someone instead of what's right with someone. I hope you're enjoying this podcast tonight. Um, there is such a thing as dysfunctional intuition. I didn't think about that as I was watching this later. That's where I got my. She didn't say dysfunctional intuition, but that's what came to my mind after I watched this latest video. I said, "Wow, like I can really resonate with what this lady is saying because I've done it. I've been in a relationship with women who have done it." And I said to myself, this sounds like a dysfunctional intuition. And I looked it up and I be darned. It was a real thing. I didn't even know it. I was just thinking of it. I said, this sounds like a dysfunctional intuition or intuition dysfunction. And to my knowledge, it was. It was a real thing. Um, So there is a such thing as a dysfunctional intuition, which refers to an intuitive process that is either inaccurate or leads to a negative outcomes, often due to emotional biases or an overemphasis on gut feelings without considering logical reasoning. I like that word overemphasis. Sometimes we overemphasize about things. Sometimes we overthink things that may not even matter at the end of the day. Have you ever thought about that? They probably don't even matter at the end of the day, but this is because this is the way I felt about it. You have to understand that that can be a problem. It can be a problem for you. It can be a problem for those you're connected to. And like I said, a lot of people are just not going to deal with that. They're just not going to deal with that anymore. And the reality of it is, can I say this? You don't have to. You are your own free moral agent. You don't have to deal with it. You don't have to tolerate it. I mean, it's your choice. If you want to be with someone or connected to someone that's always seeing what's wrong with you or going off of their intuition, that's you. That's your miserable life that you have to live. It comes down to a ultimate choice. That's what it comes down to. So, if what you feel about something is not filtered through logic, it is invalid. It doesn't mean that you're always wrong, as I said earlier. It just means that you're not just going off of my gut feeling. You're not just going off of your gut feeling. You are putting in the work. And that's what I want to challenge all of you to do today. It is important that you put in the work. And I see a lot of people oftentimes they don't do that. They don't put in the work. So what we do is we like to judge people. We like to just go based off of how we feel. And I'm here to tell you that that's not right. That's not right. We don't just go by or go off what we feel. Um we don't go by what we feel. We go by what we know. And is what we know is the truth. I believe that with my whole heart. What we know is the truth. But like I said, you'll never know that if you never take the time to look within yourself, look within your own heart, look within your own life, and say, you know what, um, I could have done better in this area. Could have done better. But oftentimes we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't look within ourselves. We take everything at face value, as I said earlier. It's time to go back and reevaluate. You just can't do it. You have to put in the work. You can't be lazy. You have to put in the work. That is very important. You got to put in the work. Because if you don't put in the work, it's just pointless. It's just pointless. And at the end of the day, guess who suffers? you suffer. You suffer. So you got to put in the work, my friend. How many relationships have failed because we've followed our hearts? Have you ever heard people say that before? I'm just following my heart. I'm going based off what my heart is saying without logical reasoning. How many marriages have failed because what we thought about someone, we found out later that that wasn't really accurate? And I love this assessment of the video that I showed you of this lady as far as the intuition is concerned. In essence, you know what she's really saying? A lot of women and men alike use their intuition only to detect when something is wrong. I do, however, believe that men can be this way as well, but based off of my own experience, I found what this lady said was true, and it truly resonates with me. So I want to applaud that lady for being bold and just speaking her heart and just speaking her mind. It really resonated with me, everything that she said. And I think there's a lot of men out there that can probably resonate with it as well, and women alike, if you have experienced this. So it's easy to sit back and your intuition kicks in when you feel something is wrong or is off with him or her. But as she stated, where's that intuition when I need support? Where's that intuition when I need love, when I need validation? Why didn't your gut feeling kick in when I was doing something right? You never talk about anything that I'm doing right. It's always about what I'm doing wrong. That is, I've said this multiple times tonight. That is a problem, my friends. It's a problem. Why would you want to be with someone? Um, why would you want to be with someone who all they can do is just talk about what you're doing wrong or discern what you're doing wrong? I felt like you're doing this. I felt like you're doing that. The reality of it is that you don't have to put up with that. You just don't. What about when I need reassurance? Can we talk about that? What about when I'm sad? Can you discern that? What about when I reach the end of my rope and you don't realize that I'm about to cut it off with you and you don't see that because you're so busy focusing on what's wrong with me? Or your intuition only kicks in when you feel like I'm doing something wrong. Never ever do your intuition kicks in when I'm doing something right. And I'm telling you, the days of experiencing that for me are over. It's been over a long time ago. But it was my choice to end those type of connections. It was my choice to end those type of relationships. I just didn't want to deal with it. And you know what? You don't have to deal with it as well. You don't. And this leads me to believe that some women and men alike have what I call intuition dysfunction. They really do. There are some examples of intuition dysfunction, and there are some causes, some effects, some reasoning behind it. I would actually encourage you to do your research. But everything that I'm talking about today is so connected to what I'm about to share with these four things here, based off of my research, and I think you're really going to like them. So, what are some examples of intuition dysfunctions, and what do you look for? Like, how can you tell when somebody is a bit off? Okay, misinterpretation of patterns. This is dysfunctional intuition can involve picking up on patterns without discernment, leading to self-deception and incorrect conclusions. Man, ain't that the truth? How many people have said, I discern you're doing this and my intuition is telling me this about you? They're only self-deceiving themselves. And as a result of that, what comes from that or the root cause of that or what comes out of that is incorrect conclusion. You're just simply wrong. And I know you don't like to hear that because it somehow destroys your ego, but you're going to hear it tonight. You are wrong. You have a misinterpretation of patterns. You are just literally just it's just self-deception. And it leads to incorrect conclusions. You're just not correct. Like now, like I said, that doesn't mean there aren't times where you are. You may be. But if you just Like I said, you using the intuition to manipulate yourself and to manipulate others. Think I'm always right. How I feel is always right. I'm telling you, your relationship is just gonna be short term. Cause we're living in an era now where a lot of people are just not gonna deal with them, and they're not gonna deal with you with that type of attitude. They're just not. Number two, emotional biases. It's often influenced by emotions, biases, or beliefs rather than pure intuition. So sometimes how we feel someone about someone is based off of emotions, biases, and beliefs. Sometimes these are things that we've already believed about a person before they even enter our lives. And when they enter our lives, we go based off of our beliefs and our biases, our emotions. Well, my emotions told me this, and I believe this way about this person. That doesn't make it true. And it's the total opposite of pure intuition. It's not pure intuition at all to even operate that way. Number three, negative outcomes. There's always going to be negative outcomes for you if you operate in this manner. Acting on dysfunctional intuition can lead to poor decisions, relationship problems. Did I say that earlier? Or even physical harm. It can. Number four, overemphasis on gut feelings. It can involve relying too much on or too heavily on gut feelings without considering objective information or logical reasoning. You gotta watch people that's like, my gut feeling told me and I feel this way. You're relying too heavily on that. You need to treat your intuition with self-care and only use it when you feel like you need to use it. But when you do use your intuition, you need to tell yourself, I may be wrong about this, but this is how I feel. Find yourself in a safe space where you can talk to that person and say, you know what, this is just what I feel. I may not be right about this. And well, they're honest with you. That's between you and that person. I would hope they would be honest with you, but this is just the way I feel like you've been off a little bit. I feel like this is going on, that's going on. But in the process of doing that, make sure it's coming from a pure heart. Don't overemphasize it. Don't overthink it. Because, like I said, that leads to incorrect information. That leads to incorrect conclusions, which can become very problematic for the people that we say we love and care for. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show about intuition dysfunction. I hope you don't have that, by the way. I know tonight was kind of informative, but sometimes we need to kind of sit back and just learn something. So I'm so glad you've taken the opportunity to do that. So what I want to do now is we do these every night. We call it our questions, and we ask questions in regards to the show. And the questions for you tonight that are watching is: do you trust your intuition? That's just a personal question. If you say yes, explain why. If you say no, explain why. I trust my intuition, but I trust it, but I know my intuition can be flawed too. I know I can get it wrong too. So do you trust your intuition? Do you trust your gut feeling? Do you trust that inner voice inside of you? Number two, do you believe your intuition is always right? Now I know a lot of people say, well, that's a tricky question. It's not a tricky question. Just be honest. Are you one of those ladies that's like, my intuition is always right? Are you that way? Do you believe that way about yourself? Number three, um, do you evaluate those feelings or do you accept them at face value? Woo, that's a good one there. So when you are uh, presented with a issue or with a problem, do you evaluate those feelings? Do you um, do you filter those feelings through logic and reasoning? Do you do that, or do you like, well, this is the way I feel, so it's what it is? That's just not the right way of doing things. So make sure you answer those questions. I really believe that it's very important to engage, and this gives you an opportunity to connect with us and and to get involved in what we're doing here on Evolve. You can connect with us on youtube.com, Henry Harris 100. Hit the subscribe button. Watch some of our shows on there. We're on Soul TV as well on Facebook. Also, you can follow us on the Brother Henry and You Show page on Facebook. And I am so grateful that you've taken the opportunity to watch. And I really hope that you have an amazing day. Till next time, we'll see you next week.